We have a law against assisted suicide. One reason simply goes to the sanctity of life. Once we start eroding that, once we say it's acceptable for people to start killing themselves, a terrible thing happens. It becomes acceptable. It's suddenly an option for the senior citizen with Alzheimer's, for the 50-year-old with cancer, for the teenager with no friends. Who decides when suicide is the way to go? In this case, the decision fell to a mentally impaired woman and her emotionally despairing husband. Not exactly bastions of sound judgment. His motives, however clouded by grief, may have been pure. But what about that husband who wants his wife to die to perhaps prevent the estate from being financially drained? What about the family that actually seeks to end their own suffering because it's too horrible watching mom deteriorate? How do we assess or regulate motive? It's why we choose, as a matter of law, not to go down that slope. Nobody is arguing that Mr. Meyerson is a bad man. He isn't. But he admittedly, reflectively acted to end the life of a human being. Under the law, which you took an oath to uphold, that's murder.
The dirty little secret is, we went down that slope years ago.
Officially, we say we're against assisted suicide, but it goes on all the time.
70% of all deaths in hospitals are due to decisions to let patients die. Whether it's morphine drips or respirators, hydration tubes, with all due respect to the Terry Schiavo fanfare, patients are assisted with death all across this country, all the time. As for regulating motive,
Here's a thought. Investigate it.
if we suspect foul play, have the police ask questions. If it smells funny, prosecute. But here,
There's no suggestion that Mr. Meyerson's motive was anything other than to satisfy his wife's wishes and spare her the extreme indignity of experiencing the rotting of her brain. Can you imagine?
would you want to live like that? I had a dog for 12 years. His name was Alan. That was his name when I got him. He had cancer in the end. That in conjunction with severe hip dysplasia, and he was in unbearable pain. My vet recommended, and I agreed to euthanize him. It was humane, which we as a society endeavor to be for animals. My client's act was humane. It was a selfless one. It was a sorrowful one. Mrs. Meyerson's nurse testified as to the profound love Ryan Meyerson had for his wife. Sometimes the ultimate act of love and kindness. If you think this man is a criminal, send him to jail. But if you don't.